which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to welcome everyone to our meeting tonight. Before we get underway, I have a few housekeeping matters to attend to. First of all, the fire exit is located to your left. In the event of a fire, you will be notified by an announcement. If notified, please move in a calm and orderly fashion to the exit. Do not use the elevators. Use either the north or the south door to leave the building. Meetings are being recorded for the purpose of a record and minutes, not for a verbatim transcript. So when you come to the microphone, please identify yourself each time and speak into the microphone so that it can be recorded. We will call the items in the order that they appear on the agenda. There are extra copies of the agenda on the table just inside the door. After the case has been called, the applicant will come to the podium, identify themselves, be sworn, they'll identify themselves, state their address, then they'll be sworn, and then they'll present their case. During the presentation of their case, the members of the board have an opportunity to ask questions of the applicant, and once that process is completed, then the case will be open to public input. Anyone wishing to address the application can come to the podium, state their name and address, and direct their questions and comments to the board. First, we will call those who wish to speak in favor of the application, and then we will call those who wish to speak in opposition to the application. Once you have spoken and left the podium, that's the end of your opportunity to address the board. There's no repeat appearances. Once all the public input has been completed, the applicant or their representative will be given the opportunity to respond to anything that was raised during the public portion of the hearing. Once that is concluded, then the case will be closed and we'll continue on to the next case. After we've considered all the cases that are on the agenda, we will take a short recess and then we will return to deliberate the cases in the order in which the applicants appear on the agenda and are present in the room. No further input is allowed during this portion of the proceeding, but you're welcome to stay and listen to the deliberation, or you can watch it on TV. If you wish to leave, you can find out the results by calling the Planning and Zoning Department tomorrow morning after 9 a.m., or you can see them on TV. So we will call the first case on our agenda tonight.
Okay, ZB 1305-1, upon the matter of request by Kimberly Stankley for an area variance to construct a 20-foot by 22-foot garage exceeding maximum allowable lot coverage on premises 102 Broccoli Road in an R2 residential district.
Hi, I'm Kimberly Stanky. My address is 102 Broccoli Road.
If you could raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that everything you say tonight will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay.
What I'm proposing is I currently have a garage on my property that is dilapidated and is small for my needs, and so I'm proposing to demolish that garage and build a new structure, which is 20 by 22. And that new structure would put me over my allowable lot coverage by roughly 6.4 square feet. So I'm asking for,
And if I'm looking at the map and understanding it correctly, the additional portion of the garage that you're adding on is going to impact only on you.
exactly,
It's not going to be any closer to the back line, and it's not going to be any closer to the sideline. It's just going to shorten the distance between your deck and your garage.
exactly, yep.
I'm curious, if the garage is almost the same size, that footprint would, when you take down the old garage, that footprint would still be there, right?
Correct.
Are you planning on using that footprint and then just kind of extending a little bit?
I would like to, yes. I would like to use the existing 20 by 16 and then extend out the front, my 6 additional feet on the,
Okay, so it's right out the front that you want to come.
yes,
Yeah,
yep,
got
closer
it.
to the road, yes.
Will you be matching the actual house type of siding, roofing, and that type of thing?
I plan to, yes, exactly.
Do you already have a contractor, or?
Actually, my dad is a builder,
Okay.
so I'm gonna have him do it.
So you have a contractor.
Yes.
Any other questions? Does anyone wish to speak in favor of this application? Does anyone wish to speak in opposition to this application? Seeing no further input, we'll close the hearing. Thank you.
you.
Move on to our next matter.
ZB 1305-2, upon the matter of request by Mary Beth Bell and Bruce Rockwell for an area variances to construct a 40-inch tall ornamental front yard fencing exceeding maximum allowable linear footage and height on premises 3227 St. Paul Boulevard in an R2 residential district.
Good evening. I'm Mary Beth Bell. I reside at 3227 St. Paul Boulevard. Mr. Rockwell is with me also this evening.
If you could raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that everything you say tonight will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay.
Our proposal is to construct a decorative fence in the front yard of our residence. And the variance is for both the linear footage of the fence as well as the height of the fence. Our belief is that the town allows 30 linear feet to be the limit in the front yard. Our frontage width is 58 feet. So we're asking for an additional 28 feet so that the fence can go across the entire front of the property with a gate at the sidewalk that goes up to the front door. And we're also asking for a height variance from 42 inches, which is allowable, to 48 inches. And the fence would be installed by a professional fencing company in accordance with all town regulations, and it would be the black decorative, no-maintenance type fencing.
Got a question for you right here.
Yes, sir.
I know it's hard to tell who's asking the question. What is the reason, I guess, that you want that 6-foot fence? Because this is not a solid fence, right? It's a decorative, the way the pictures show it, it's like, you can see right through it anyway, right?
Right, it's 48 inches, sir, and the reason for that is decorative and a little added security and some enhancement to the front of the property, which is now very plain.
So it's
48.
48 inches.
48.
4 feet.
4 feet.
I believe you said 6 feet,
I
I'm
did.
sorry.
I did. I was under the impression it was. Do you need a variance for 4 feet?
Well, in the front yard, you need, it's only allowed is 3.5 feet in the front yard,
Oh, it's 3.5 feet.
in the front yard.
Okay.
So it's
And-
a 6-inch variance, right?
Right, and the other thing is, it wasn't clear and it's not written correctly on our sheet, but she also needs a variance for all the fencing in the front, not just the front line. So anything forward of the porch, that's considered the linear footage too. So she needs a little bit more of a variance than what was stated.
They allow 32 feet for the...
32 linear feet, but
But
that
now-
includes everything forward of the porch, not just along, parallel with St. Paul Boulevard. Everything, even the particular,
Going back.
perpendicular lines.
Going back toward the house.
Yeah, anything forward of the house is your front yard, so that's why she needs additional linear footage variance.
So you have about 60 feet across the front, right?
Yes, sir, I
Yep.
think it's 58, somewhere in that range with the setback allowance.
And then according to the drawing, you have 44 going back to the house by the driveway,
Yes, sir.
and 55 feet going back on the north side.
Yes, sir. And
So the variance would be 115, about 160 feet, if I'm adding it up correctly.
right, when I applied, that was not clear. I'm sorry for
Okay.
that misconception.
No harm done, she asked for.
Right.
It was advertised correctly, linear footage, she just didn't realize how much was a variance.
Would it be done, I mean, obviously you want the decorative fence, it is a good-looking fence, it's the one you've got highlighted in pink
Yes.
on the drawing. Is there a reason other than that you can't stay with the 42 inches? And would you still do it if we allowed the 40, and if we said yes to the amount of linear footage, but didn't say yes to the height?
I believe we would consider it, yes.
Okay. I mean, was there something in particular that made you go to the 48, or is it just that's the style of the fence, or?
The style of the fence seemed to be an appropriate height for that fence.
Okay.
Did you check with the fencing contractor to see if they sell 42-inch fencing? It seems to me 48-inch fencing or 36-inch fencing is probably a standard size, but I'm questioning whether or not 42 inches is a standard size. Do you know whether that would be like readily available, or would that make it a custom-made fence that would probably increase your price astronomically?
We would have to custom order the 42, is my understanding from Mr. Rockwell.
What security issues do you have that you referenced earlier? Security concerns?
Just not concerns particularly, just having an enclosed front yard prevents people from cutting through. Certainly maybe animals from entering the yard that we'd prefer not to. Just that, really. I have, we're on a major thoroughfare and just felt that it would be nice to, more for the aesthetics, but security is certainly an additional feature of the fence.
Is the section at the back by the garage, Donna, is that part of the variance too?
No,
It's just highlighted in that color, that's where you can put it to?
We have a permit for that portion already.
Okay, so that doesn't need any variance?
No, it did not, sir.
When you, back to me again,
Yes,
you alluded to the fact that St. Paul Boulevard is a major thoroughfare. What concerns me is, are people going to be able to, live in a neighborhood, are they going to be able to see around this fence when they're pulling out of their own driveways? Or is it going to inhibit their view of what's coming down the road? I don't know if you've had a chance to talk to the neighbors about that, but that might be an issue that needs to be addressed. I don't know. I know when I went there yesterday, I noticed the driveways are not wide. I don't know about if you go in the back, if you can turn around. I didn't
Yes.
do that.
we
But
can,
You can, but
yes.
I didn't know if the others could or not. I don't know.
Understood.
Nevertheless, that was a concern.
Okay, well, we would be observing any required setbacks for the fence to allow for a proper clear zone. If that was a requirement, we could certainly go along with that.
The neighbor to the north, does their driveway enter St. Paul Boulevard, or are they on Catalpa Road?
I believe they're on Catalpa. I haven't,
You're one in from the corner house,
we're
right?
one in from the corner, yes.
And then next to you to the south is another house on a different corner, right? Or do you have another house that fronts St. Paul?
No, my house and the house next to us are in the center of the block.
All right.
And then there's two houses on either side that are on the corners.
And their driveway is at the south end of their property, so it's a ways away from yours, right?
I believe so, yes, sir.
All right. So in terms of and this is fencing, the decorative fencing that you showed us, which is pretty opaque. You can
Yes.
see through it, right?
Yes, sir.
Have you discussed this at all with your neighbors?
Your plans?
They asked us what our plans were, why the sign was in the front yard. We displayed it for the week as required. And we told them we were hoping to get a decorative fence in the front yard.
They indicate any concerns or feelings one way or the other?
I did not speak to them directly about it. I believe Mr. Rockwell and his roommate did, and there's none, to my knowledge, objections. But I don't know for sure.
I'm not really sure, Donna, what if there is a setback distance from the sidewalk?
there is, and she's meeting it. It's a minimum of 3 feet for, the DPW came up with that setback for snow removal and for sidewalk snow removal and so that you could have a clearance for backing out. They felt that would be adequate
Okay, so it's a 3-foot setback,
from your front property
Please.
line,
Right,
which she has,
Property line or the sidewalk?
a front property line.
from property line,
At the
No,
map
that-
already
which is
indicates-
about your sidewalk almost, yep. So 3 feet back from the sidewalk, maybe a little more. and that's in our code. That's, I mean, DPW made that suggestion, and that's in the code. It's not just a suggestion.
Any other questions? Is there anyone here to speak in favor of this application? Step right up.
Good evening. My name's Mary Coleman, and I live at 3219 St. Paul Boulevard. So we're right next door in the center of the block to the proposed fence. The only concern that we had when we heard that there was a fence being proposed was not being able to see when we did back up because the boulevard's so busy. It's hard to get out of the driveway often. And if there was anything blocking the view down the boulevard, then it would make it even harder. So the only concern I have now after hearing everything is if there were bushes that would be planted, like right at the face of the fence at the sidewalk level, that would, grow up and block everything, just like a 6-foot fence would be, a solid fence. So I'm thrilled about the fence itself and the idea that it's an open design. And I think the neighbors are totally open and honest with us about everything that they're proposing. That's the only concern we had, was getting in and out of the driveways and anything that would block the view of the cars coming down the road for the future. Other than that, we're all for it.
Have you seen the design?
No, I haven't.
It's this one here.
Oh, that's very pretty. So, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else who wishes to speak in favor of this application? Is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition to this application? Does the applicant wish to address anything further?
No, sir.
Then we will,
Can we ask another question of the applicant?
we can ask questions whenever we want.
In reference to your neighbor just asking about the shrubbery, and you did note that you were going to put some decorative shrubbery along the fence line, can we request that it's low-lying shrubbery as opposed to something tall? Were you planning on putting something tall to block the visibility?
No, sir. What we had proposed were English roses sporadically placed along the fence, more to soften the aesthetics of the hardscape of the fence. But if the requirement was that there were none along the front to not be a hazard to people backing out, we would be okay with that.
Excuse me for being naive, but how high do English roses get?
You can trim them so that they wouldn't have to be any taller than the fence.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? And we'll close that case and move on to the next matter.
ZB 1305-3, upon the matter request by Ivan Napora for an area variance to park, store a construction trailer in the driveway year-round on premises 74 Villanova Road in an R1 residential district.
Good evening. My name is Ivan Napora, residing at 74 Villanova Road, Rochester, New York, 14617.
Mr. Napor, if you could raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that everything you say tonight will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I'm requesting for a special use permit to store a trailer. It's like a tool shed for me because it holds my personal tools, and I own a remodeling business. I service clients at their homes, so it's not stored there all the time, maybe on a weekend or between jobs. It's stored alongside my house, behind the front foundation, not in front, blocking views or destroying the neighborhood. I can't store it anywhere else because of theft. That's a major issue with trailers, construction trailers. I've had issues before, and deductibles don't cover everything, and so I just can't do it. So when it's not at a customer's house, on a job site, I bring it home.
Now, I'm a little confused about the trailer that you're talking about, because
It's-
in
yep.
the packet of information that we got, there's depicted, and what you seem to be describing, there's a white trailer that has Napora on the side
Yes,
and is enclosed. And then when I went by, in other pictures of your house, and when I went by there yesterday, there's a trailer that looks like it's got 2x6 plank sides that's open, that looks like a mobile dumpster.
Yes.
And that was parked next to the house yesterday, and it's depicted in one of these photographs being in your driveway. So if, and another one shows it where I saw it yesterday. So if that trailer's there, then where's that other trailer, and where does, when the white trailer isn't there,
yep.
where's that dumpster trailer, and when the white trailer is there, where's the dumpster trailer gonna be?
Okay, the dumpster trailer, I can store it anywhere. I've got a lot, an available lot. No one's gonna steal the dump trailer with garbage in it, and the dump trailer's covered with collision insurance. The cargo trailer, which stores tools in it, they cut locks and they steal all the tools. So
But-
the white trailer, I can't store it a lot. That's empty, not secure. And even though there's a fence, they cut chain link fences and they get in.
I guess my question is, if
It's one or the other.
if you have a lot where the dump trailer can be stored, then why is there any need at any time to have that dump trailer at your house?
The only reason why I brought it home yesterday from the job site was to dump it this morning. I bring it home, if next morning I gotta dump it at 7 a.m. and take it back to the site. So that's the only reason, and I come home at 7 o'clock at night, I back it up into my driveway so it wouldn't stick out, so no one would see it. In the morning, I'm out. I take it.
Because certainly, if we were to favorably consider your application,
Yep,
it would be limited to that white trailer,
yes.
not be the dump trailer. So you'd have to, I mean, if you got a place to park the dump trailer, even when it's full, you know, in consideration of your neighbors, I would think you would park it there and then pick it up in the morning and dump it and go on to the site.
I understand.
And that would seem to me to be the whole purpose for having that other lot, since you're telling us you can't park the white trailer there, and I can't imagine that you'd be doing anything else on that lot, right?
No, yes, I agree.
Okay.
Sometimes I use the dump trailer at my place to clean out debris, like over the winter, a tree fell, and I had it down at my house, backed it up into the backyard and stuff like that. And then I bring my white trailer home to work on my house on a weekend to take the Christmas lights off, and I get violations in the mail. So I'm not even able to bring my tools home to work on my property without getting in trouble.
Well, that's why you're here, I think, right? Is to ask us for permission.
Yes,
All right. And yesterday there was a huge boat in your driveway too.
yes.
It looked like your place was loaded and you didn't even have room for anything
Well,
else.
that boat's gonna be gone tomorrow.
Okay, all right.
So I'll try to store only one. I mean, the boat's allowed, the white trailer's not there all the time, except it's maybe there once a month or over a weekend because I'm done with one job and Monday we're starting another one, or I'm working on my house, but it's not there periodically and it's not stored there every day or in front of the house. So it's stored behind the foundation on the side.
So when the white trailer's there, you don't leave the truck blocking the sidewalk like that?
No, that was taken the morning I pulled out, and I stopped and I was on the phone and the town took the picture. It was stored all the way back all weekend with the trailer ton not protruding past the front of the garage. So that morning I hooked up and pulled out, and wrong place, wrong time, and they caught me at that instant.
Are you running your business from home?
Yes, I meet clients at their locations. They do not come to my house, so I don't have a place of business.
Do you have a home occupation permit?
Home occupation permit? No.
Apparently not. I think you need to see Donna. I think you need a home occupation permit, right? Yeah.
Do your workers, do you have workers
Yes,
also?
yes.
It's showing a truck parked on your front lawn. At one point, do the workers park there while you guys go off to work in the morning?
That happened once. That was one of the employees, one of my laborers that came, but otherwise we meet at Home Depot. And they park at Home Depot.
Is this section right away to the school or something?
Yes, yes.
Well, I I can understand the situation, and you're telling us that it's not going to be there that much. You know, it's going to be on job sites most of the time.
Yes.
But I think if we grant this variance, then you will be able to keep it there as much as you want, I assume, unless we specify just weekends or something.
I think we could limit it, I think, to, and our counsel will correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that we could limit it to not more than X number of days per month or something along those lines.
Well, my point is, if I lived in that house next door, as you look at the house on the left, I would not be thrilled about that big trailer being right there, you know, where I can't even see down the street from it, you know, type of thing. At least that's the way this picture shows it. I think what you intend to do is put the trailer alongside the house.
That's where it is, yes. I drew a map where it's stored.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
where I'm surmising that from.
Yep,
And I suppose that there are times when, well, I'm going to put the dump trailer there just because I have it now. I'm going to put it there, and I'll put the other trailer in front of it. It's going to be a very
it's,
variable type of situation, I think.
I understand. I personally, the only trailer I'm asking to keep there is the white one. The dump trailer, like I said, I've got my brother's lot that I park it at. I'm not worried about that one. That can stay there always. It's this white one that I need to be able to bring it home when I'm done with a job site.
Not trying to be just difficult about this, but, you know, Town of Arundecoit, we try to keep up. Now, these variance requests come through a lot. We try to come up, we try to maintain a nice look in the town when people drive through, and when they live, the neighbors and so forth, they don't have to look at a big thing like that all the time.
I understand. I talked to all the neighbors within 200 feet. My neighbor on my left should be here. He's on his way. He got out of work late. My other neighbor down the street is here. And I've got 6 letters of, you know, approvals of neighbors that say where the trailer's stored on the side of the house doesn't obstruct view or anything, so I can.
Those letters would do much better in the hands of Mr. Santora being passed around than in the envelope.
I was
Okay.
waiting to, sorry about that.
How many neighbors did not like to have the trailers there?
No one opposed. No one opposed. I talked to everyone within 200 feet, 3-4 houses down the left and 3-4 houses down the right, and everyone says it's not in their view. It's tucked between the 2 houses. The space is, I'd say, between the 2 houses is about 30 feet. So the 2 houses are lined up, the fronts, so it's not one sticks out past the other. So you really can't tell that the trailer's there when you're driving by the house unless you're really looking for it.
But somebody's filing complaints about the fact that your trailers are there.
I talked to the neighbors within 200 feet. I didn't go any further down because,
This could be backed up a little bit more than it
yes,
shows.
that was way too far forward.
Because it looks like the plan you have on the tape map, it almost looks like you can get practically in the backyard with it.
Yep.
And
Yep.
the other side has more than enough room if you ever wanted to do something, drive around that side, isn't it?
It's a triangular lot,
Yeah,
so,
I noticed that one.
It's a
What you mean
24-foot
about having
trailer?
your tools stolen, because it's a common thing.
yeah, my cousin got robbed 3 times already, and then he stuck the truck into a building. They break the buildings, and they break the windows, got in and robbed him already 3 times. My other buddy owns a masonry company, and is building the Wegmans, the new one that went up on East Ave. They cut the fence last week, and
Or
stole
you have,
$5,000 worth of tools.
Or you have the other trailer, the dump trailer?
That's out, that's stored at the
Right,
lot.
but I mean, is that as long as the,
No, the cargo trailer's 24, the dump's only 12, 6 by 12. So,
so this is shorter?
yeah, that's a short trailer considered, you can store that one, it's like a utility trailer, as long as it's 6 by 12. But, like I said, that one I'm not worried about, I can store anywhere. This is
And
the
boat-
neighbor on my left.
The boat, you'll be after,
Tomorrow, I'm pulling it out tomorrow, so it'll be gone
but I think, Donna, you can leave a boat there for what, 4 or 5 months?
till November.
Right, until November 1st,
And then if
from
you put-
April to November.
And then if it goes on the side or the back, it's okay?
Right, or indoors. But I gotta say, dump trucks are not allowed, period, no matter how big they are.
Right.
That's one of the lists of no, not, just not allowed, dump trucks.
Now, does the trailer have anything to do, Donna, with the name on it?
You know, our code doesn't say
Say anything about
anything
that.
about names, right?
Okay.
You see in the code that was attached to it, restrictions, dump trucks is number 1. It doesn't matter how big it is, just not allowed.
It's a dump trailer, so is that still considered a dump truck? It can be used as a utility trailer or,
In looking at the map, it appears to me to indicate that there's a distance of 16, a little more than 16 and a half feet from your side boundary line to the corner of the house, and if the trailer is 8.5 feet, that would leave about 6 feet.
yes.
As a condition of a variance, would you be willing to plant at least 4-foot-high shrubs that would grow
Yes, I was
taller
considering
to
that.
mask the
Yep,
trailer being at the side of the house, so that only from the street, all that would be visible would
The
be
front.
the front?
yes,
Would you be
I
willing
did,
to do that?
yep, I considered that, and I talked to Josh about that, because he just planted, the trees in his back that are gonna grow. They're like wind barrier brush, and I was gonna do the same thing.
While you're reading that, I think that one of the questions that the chairman asked, I can clarify, and it probably segues to Mr. Santora's question about the boat, too. If the board were inclined, and I always advise you that I don't have an opinion one way or the other, I'm just trying to give you advice, the imposition of conditions, they're free to do that. In granting the variance, you've got the authority to impose such reasonable conditions and restrictions that are related to the incidental proposed use. I would suggest to the board, just from looking at the compilation of trailers and boats, and I don't mean any negative intention, if you were inclined to grant the variance for the trailer, and that's the trailer that has Napora on the side of it, I think you could reasonably impose a condition that says at no time could the trailer and the boat occupy the premises at the same time. And I understand that you're going to put your boat in the water.
Yep.
But you do have a seasonal right to have the boat present. But a reasonable restriction granting the variance, the board could say, if we grant the variance for the trailer, at no time could the two of them coexist on the property.
I could agree to that, because the boat also is insured, and I can put it at the lot.
I understand.
At the lot in Webster, that's insured at, no one's really gonna, if they do steal an outright of it, outdrive, the insurance will cover that. But, like the tools inside the trailer, there's such a big deductible, and they only paid to a certain amount, and then when they depreciate the tools, there's nothing left to buy the new tools with.
Along with
To
your
replace
business.
them.
being
Yeah,
out of
so
business
it
for
just,
a while.
it puts financial harm on, strain on me.
Yeah. Any other questions or comments from the board?
Whereabouts is the other trailer stored?
Plank Road, 1439 Plank Road.
And it's a closed lot or a?
No, it's not an enclosed lot. It has a driveway there. Eventually, it's going to be my new residence when I put up my house. And if I do put up a pole barn, so I'm going towards that step, then eventually all this equipment's going to be stored inside the pole barn there. But as of right now,
And you said it's your brother's property or
well,
your
that
brother
one's
lives
mine,
there?
but I also have, well, because the driveway wasn't there, I was storing it at my brother's in Fairport. Both of them live in Fairport, and they have a driveway where I store it there. They have 5 acres.
So if this was granted, you wouldn't have any problem with subject to only your use? And if you sold the property, it would not go to the next owner?
No. So the dump trailer and the boat next week, tomorrow the boat's gonna be on the dump trailer and the boat can be stored at the other lot.
But if you were to build the pole barn first and put the equipment in, that doesn't solve your problem because then it's unoccupied and people still break
It's-
into the pole barn.
Yeah, I can put an alarm system there, security system, and I got neighbors that watch. Neighbors on the left and right. So it's more, and across the street that's really nosy, so shouldn't have a problem.
Do you have a projected time when you might be building that pole barn?
I need 50 grand. So, I just spent 20 for the driveway,
So several years, huh?
well, I'm hoping I'd like to put up the pole barn first, so you might never know, maybe by the end of the year, I can put the pole barn in, but it depends on the economy and how my business goes.
So if we were to grant it for a period of, say, 4 or 5 years and limit it so that it would be limited to you and not when you sell the property,
Yes,
that would give you time to,
yes, I'm hoping within 5 years to build my home and move, so.
because part of what we're obligated to do is to balance any variance that we grant with what the needs are and to grant no more of a variance than is necessary to meet the circumstance that gives rise to it.
Yes, I agree.
And so, we have several applications for trailers to be parked, and sometimes, some neighbors aren't as understanding as your neighbors are.
Yep.
You're fortunate in that respect.
I try to get along with everyone.
Any other questions or comments? Is there anyone here to speak in favor of this application? Step right up, sir.
How's it going? I live to the left.
Could you state your
Could
name?
state your name and
I'm
your
Josh
address.
Walters, 68 Villanova Road.
Okay.
And my house is probably from one window 5 feet from where he parks his trailer, and
This one?
that's it.
Okay.
And I have no problem. It's there maybe on the weekends, and when it is, it's not like he's doing anything out of it. It's just parked there, and it's gone Monday morning, so I really have no problem with it.
And
Is there any-
there's nobody on the other side, right?
There's the
Right-of-way.
walkway, the right of way. And the neighbor on the right is an elderly woman. She wrote one of the letters. She's also fine with it. She can't even see it from her house.
Is that Ms. Denman?
I think so, yes. It's a little yellow envelope.
Oh, the little yellow envelope. Okay, you had another neighbor who wrote and couldn't understand why we would interfere with your ability to park it on wherever you want it on your property. And the reason is because we don't want to have trailers parked on the front of every lawn. It doesn't necessarily add to the value of property, so that's... All right. And just for the record, the applicant has provided us with a letter from Marion Wakowicz, close, 80 Villanova Road, hopefully I got that right.
Yep.
From Jennifer DiNapoli at 86 Villanova Road, from Sanda Schultz Denman at somewhere in the neighborhood, she didn't give her address. Daniel and Amber Niklowitz at 61 Villanova Drive, and Richard Miller at 41 Villanova Road, and Frank Palizzi at 96 Villanova Road, all of which indicate that they are in favor of allowing the applicant to be granted the variance that is being requested. Is there anyone else that wishes to speak in favor of the application?
Joanne Fazio, I live at 120 Villanova, and right down the road. It's not an issue, it never has been an issue, it's not an eyesore or anything to that. So we're fine with it.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Is there anyone else that wishes to speak in favor of the application? Is there anyone that wishes to speak in opposition to the application? Does the applicant wish to address anything further?
No, that's it.
We'll close the hearing with respect to that matter and move on to the next matter.
Okay. ZB 1305-4, upon the matter of request by Bradley Huber for an area variance to install a compacted permeable crushed stone driveway with paver borders pursuant to Section 23577D of the Town of Arundecoy Code on premises 35 Chelsea Road in an R1 residential district.
Bradley Huber, 35 Chelsea Road, Rochester, New York.
Mr. Huber, if you could raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that everything you say tonight will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, thank you.
I'd like to replace my existing asphalt driveway with a crushed stone driveway, which would be compacted, and then I'd like to put a border of pavers on the edges and an apron at the foot of the driveway to keep stones from going into the road. I'd like to do this for 6 reasons. The first is to promote better drainage. The driveway is highest in the middle, and then the garage is at the rear of the property and is lower than the house and slightly lower than the street. So I'm hoping to install something that would help to keep the water from running into the driveway without having to put a grate in front of the driveway and run a drainage line all the way to the road because of the expense. The second reason is because it would be a green solution. It wouldn't require chemical sealers or to be hauled away in 20 years. As long as it was maintained, it would last. In addition to that, everything that I've done to the house since I bought it has been to maintain the character of the structure. I've replaced the window weights, put new ropes in them, kept the rolled glass in the windows, continued with the storm windows, put an antique stove inside, replaced the glass doorknobs, and if I can keep the driveway being period, I would like to do so. In addition to that, it's aesthetically pleasing to me more so than concrete or asphalt, and it's would be easier to maintain over the course of time. Should something happen to it, I can just call for more stone, re-level, regrade it. It won't gray or get any potholes.
The pavers you're talking about are like this one in the front?
Yes. Since I sent that in, I understand that it's against the town code to put pavers directly adjacent to the road. I spoke to Mr. Meredith in the DPW, and we spoke about putting in a concrete apron instead of the Faber apron. I understand that there were some concerns because the right-of-way for the town is 15 feet into the property line, and I spoke to him about that it might look a little silly because there's no sidewalk on Chelsea Road, and generally by the time you get to the other side of the sidewalk, you're close to 15 feet. But if I do a concrete apron 15 feet into the property, it's almost halfway to the front porch. I think it would look kind of silly, like I just gave up with the concrete. So I was hoping we could compromise on something in between 15 and, I don't know, whatever's pleasing.
All right, so that you can work out with the town engineer, right?
Sure.
All right, now, when I was there, I think it was yesterday, we had talked about the topography of your lot, and it slopes back towards your garage, which
That's
means
correct.
that on a paved driveway, the water that isn't absorbed, which would be all of it, flows back into your garage and floods your garage.
That's correct.
And your backyard.
Yes.
All right, and we talked about different ways that you could alleviate that, and I think you'd indicated that you'd talk to
I talked to
the
when
paver would, to level it, you'd then have a hill where it meet, an elevation where it would meet the road, so it would still flow water
Correct.
back. And you were going to look into what the cost would be of putting in a drain in the back and connecting it to like a storm sewer in the road.
Yes, sir. I called around all day today, and most people, there was a secretary, and somebody would call you back and come out with it. I tried. I did put my effort into it and wasn't able to come up with an estimate by tonight.
But in looking at your survey map, you're looking at roughly,
103
looking at about
feet.
90 feet
Yeah.
at least of
Of drainage
excavation,
tile, yeah.
drain, piping, and then a connection in order to
Yes.
satisfy what is caused by an impervious surface, right?
Correct. And even, we talked a little bit about maybe draining to the back of the garage, but the problem there is that my lot is lower than the 3 adjoining lots, so it would go to the back of the garage and then just kind of hang out there. So it's not even, it has to go to the street in order to get rid of it.
One of the things I'm looking at here is this note from Patrick Meredith saying that this is the sentence that caught my eye. Permeability and crushed stone contradict each other. I'm not
Yes.
sure I totally understand that, because you would think that crushed stone would have more areas for water to drain down through.
That was my understanding, and since the meeting with Mr. Meredith, I sent another letter back to him and went through clarifying that. And from what I understand is, there are 2 types of crushed stone that you can use. You can use crusher run, or you can use clean washed crushed stone. Now, there are pros and cons to each. The crushed stone does not have any fines in it, and the fines are what clog the water from running through it. And so the kind of con to that is that it will not compact as well as crusher run will. It will still compact because the sides of the stone are not round and angular, which allow them to lock together. And the crusher run would compact very hard, almost like concrete, but would not allow water to pass through it. So upon learning that, I'm proposing an angular wash crushed stone. It would still compact reasonably well, not as well as the crusher run, but it would also allow the water to pass through.
And then he also, I think you had indicated to me, arranged for you to appear in front of the Conservation Board.
Yes, sir. I met with them on Wednesday of last week and presented my case to them. I do not know what the outcome was.
Well, we got a memo from them dated May 5th, so they were working on Sunday apparently.
Okay.
And they indicated that they reviewed your application, and they generally support the concept of pervious driveways, but they note that for it to be truly pervious, the layers below the gravel finish must be capable of absorbing all the water passing through the gravel surface, and it should be composed of layers of angular rock laid over a geotextile fabric, and should be graded in 4-inch layers from coarse to finer for the final layer, and that if they're not properly installed, it will not be pervious. So with those comments, can you work those into your plan if your variance were granted?
This is all news to me, but yes, I don't think that should be a problem. I just got it right now, but yeah.
And when we talked yesterday, my recollection is that you indicated that the cost of doing the pervious concept would be roughly 2/3 of the cost of paving, but paving would require additional steps to alleviate the drainage problem.
Correct.
It's almost impossible in your driveway.
The drainage problem, yeah.
His driveway, after viewing what I seen on his driveway and being familiar with it, that's almost impossible to get rid of the water in that driveway.
That would be a major expense, I would think.
And like you mentioned, the crusher run is almost compacted to asphalt, so.
Correct.
Also submitted with your application was a note signed by neighbors at 23 Chelsea Road, 47 Chelsea Road, 38 Chelsea Road, 45 Chelsea Road, 26 Chelsea Road, 39 Chelsea Road, 34 Winchester Road, and 26 Winchester Road, which I think is the road to the south. Is that right?
That's right, they're the property
backyard?
directly behind me.
All right, and they all indicate that they have no objection to your proposed plan.
The town of Arundecoit, I'm gonna get a complex pretty soon. The town of Arundecoit has, basically, now I could be wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure it has two kinds of soil, sand and clay.
Uh-huh.
And I think most of the town is on sand. I mean, I've never had any problem with drainage and that type of thing, but I don't know about Chelsea. Is that sand or clay?
It's terribly sandy. A neighbor and I have been making a team effort to grow some grass on her front lawn and having a terribly difficult time because the water, the soil is so sandy.
Okay.
And I was grateful at that one point when I dug my fence posts.
Well, I think that's an important factor, because if we're talking about drainage and permeability and all that stuff, if the soil's clay, you're gonna have a problem still, but with the sand, we should be okay on that.
I know you haven't had a chance to review what the Conservation Board said, but if you were agreed to their findings, is that something that you would do, or?
Yeah, I think that these are reasonable requests. I'm not extremely familiar with things, so it would be something that I would like to kind of take a look at and talk over with the contractor and things of that nature. It's kind of I apologize, it's caught me a little off guard.
Yeah, it's tough.
Any other questions or comments from anyone else on the board? Is there anyone here to speak in favor of this application?
Hi, I'm Kimmy Romeo, 74 Montaigne Park.
No, you don't need.
No, only the applicants get sworn in.
Oh, okay, I don't know. So I'm going to speak on my own behalf, but also we wrote that letter on the Conservation Board. So in case we haven't met yet, I'm on the Conservation Board here. So we were working on Sunday. We were very impressed with this young man when he came to see us, and we loved the concept of stormwater falling where it comes and percolating in the soil and not using so much pipe and gray matter and pushing it places that it wasn't really meant to go. That costs us money. And there's a lot of maintenance to that. So this is a really awesome concept. The details in that note are so that he has great success with this project and does not fail. So as you read through that, don't panic. This means a lot of excavation. It means starting at the base, going 4 inches at a time, larger crushed stone in the beginning. Wash stone is very important. You're right. If there's crusher run in there, if there's particle matter, it's going to be as firm as asphalt driveway. So we think this could be not only a great success for this young man, but also something for other people to follow. We used to all have stone driveways before we started paving them. Imagine how much less stormwater runoff our community would have to manage if the rain fell and percolated and we didn't have to catch it. A few less catch basins, a few less pipes, a few less places to manage. Outfalls that go into our creeks and streams and other surface water bodies. So I highly recommend that you take a good look at this. I think it's a great project and a great beginning to better management.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that wishes to speak in favor of this application?
My name is Kate Gallagher. I'm one of the signers of the document. I live at 26 Chelsea Road, and I am in favor of Brad further beautifying our neighborhood. He has done everything possible to that home, and it looks just beautiful, and whatever his ideas are, I certainly do support them. I don't know about the engineering, but I'm sure it will be fine.
And you're John's mother, right? The family court judge?
Yes, I am.
All right.
I'm proud of it.
You should be.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who wishes to speak in favor of this application?
Hi, I'm Brittany Van Dorn of 38 Chelsea Road, and I agree with Kate 100%. Everything he has done to that house is just amazing. I love coming out of my house now and seeing such a beautiful garden, and I think if he put asphalt in, it would actually detract from what he's got going on there. He's got beautiful gardens, he's always out working, and I'm beyond impressed with what he's done with that house. Thank you.
Anyone else wish to speak in favor of this application? Is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition to this application? Is there anything you wish to add?
Just one thing is that when you go, if you're good homework doers, which I'm sure you are, you'll notice that the neighbor next door is not on there, but he has since signed it. I foolishly did not bring the paper with me, but on my honor, I told you that he signed off. He's 100% with it. It was difficult the first time because he's a landlord at that property and wasn't around when I needed to get the paperwork in. So I know that that's an important neighbor because that is the neighbor that the driveway would be adjacent to. I think it's 29 Chelsea Road.
Okay. Thank you. All right. We have two tabled items on our agenda with respect to case number ZB 1303-2. Is there a motion to remove that case from the table?
I'll make a motion.
All right. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. So if you could call that case?
Sure. Tabled item, case number ZB 1303-2. Request by Carlo Rios and Luke Davis for an area variance to park a construction trailer and driveway year-round and with less than required side setback on premises 354 Norridge Drive in an R1 residential district.
All right. Is anyone here on behalf of the applicant?
I
And
believe,
we received an email indicating that he had phoned and stated that he works 60 to 80 hours a week and simply cannot make the meeting. He suggested the board go ahead without him present, expressed annoyance due to the numerous commercial vehicles that are around town, and was explained to him that if the trailer met the size and setback requirements, he was allowed to park it in the driveway now, but not during the months of November through April, and he was looking for relief all year long, and expressed his frustration. Is there anyone here to speak in favor of that application? Is there anyone here to speak in opposition to that application? I would also note that in traveling to his residence to look at it, that there's a gravel extension to his driveway that abuts it on the side that runs right up to the road with the loose stone. And then the next case that was tabled is case number ZB 1304-3 pertaining to 1873 Portland Avenue. Is there a motion to remove that case from the table?
I'll make a motion to remove it.
All right, is
I'll
there a
second
second? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. We've received an email from Ms. Rayberg indicating that she plans to put the house on the market in the near future. She is not going to attend the meeting, and she's indicated that she wishes to withdraw her application. So her application will deem to be withdrawn without prejudice to renewal at some point in the future, should she elect to do so. And I believe that concludes all the cases that are on our agenda for tonight. So we will take a recess until 8:10 and then resume with our deliberations. 74 Villanova, and 35 Chelsea. Everyone stayed around tonight.
You can tell, it was a great presentation.
Yeah, all right. So, you give me a moment to organize myself here so that I can keep track of what we decide. All right, the first matter for us to consider is the application with respect to 102 Broccoli Road. This is a type 2 action for seeker purposes. Does anyone wish to make a motion with respect to this application?
I'd like to make a motion, Mr. Chairman, that we approve the request for this variance for Broccoli Road for the following findings. First of all, it's going to replace an existing garage, so there will be no change to the character of the neighborhood. It's going to stay the same. The only alternative that would not require a variance is if the new garage was exactly the same size, but it's a good opportunity to stretch that a little bit to better serve the homeowner. The request is not huge. We're talking about increasing the size of the building by around 8 to 10 square feet. That's not a substantial request, but that would just put it over the town code. So I don't think it's that big of a deal to grant that. And also, the rebuilding of the garage would have no physical or environmental effect on the area. We're not talking about drainage or changing the topography of the land at all. It's just going to be a nice new garage. And as far as being self-created, I don't think we can create an old garage, so I don't think it was self-created at all. And I think you have a good plan to improve this and make it not only a better structure for you, but also for the whole neighborhood.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries, 7 votes in favor, no opposed, no abstentions, and we are all present. Next application pertains to 3227 St. Paul Boulevard. This is also a type 2 action for seeker purposes. Does anyone wish to make a motion with respect to this application?
I'd like to make a motion to, but I'd like to request that we change the height of the fence to 42 inches. I think the height is a concern. I do think we're okay giving her all the linear footage for the whole front yard. I think it'll look nice. I do request that with the stipulation of 42-inch tall would be fine, and also that bushes don't, any bushes that are put in the front or roses, not to exceed the height of the 42 inches. It is not going to hurt it's not going to change the look of the neighborhood. I think it'll enhance the neighborhood characteristic. The alternative solution is not to put all that fencing around the front yard. However, I don't think it is a negative to the look of the house or the neighborhood. The variance, I believe, even though it is substantial as far as the linear footage, there are a few older homes along St. Paul Boulevard that are all wrapped in decorative fences. So I don't think that that's a substantial variance. It will not have any adverse effect. Following the DPW setback off of the sidewalk, as long as she follows the correct setback off the sidewalk, I don't think it'll hurt anything. It is a self-created because they want the fence in the front yard. With all that criteria, I think we should grant it with those stipulations, 42 inches.
I'll second it. One question, can we stipulate that it does have to stay with the fence that they have suggested and indicated on their page? The reason I like that is it's capped on the top. It doesn't have that open, sharp edge that some of the other, like the traditional fence has. where somebody could get hurt.
If the motion in the second would accept that condition, that's
I will
appropriate.
accept that condition.
I'll accept it. Thank you.
So that's to be the alternating contemporary fence as submitted with the application.
Correct.
Did the applicant, okay, the 48-inch or the 42-inch when we were talking? I didn't get that part.
She did mention that she
She
would
would accept it?
accept it. She did want the 48, but the 42 she would consider. I hope she does.
Any other discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries, 7 votes in favor, no opposed, no abstentions, and we are all present. The next application pertains to 74 Villanova Road. This is a type 2 action for seeker purposes. Does anyone wish to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the application as applied for with certain conditions that we were discussing. One of them, the applicant mentioned he is already going to be moving the boat, that the boat would only be there when it's supposed to be there, during the normal season, and that only the construction trailer would be on site and not the 2 trailers at the same time. But other than that, I don't believe there'll be any change to the neighborhood, according to the neighbors that came and discussed in the letters that he did have. I believe the requested variance may be substantial, but I don't think it'll have an adverse effect on the physical environmental conditions of the neighborhood. It is parked far enough on the side to not be a deterrent to the neighborhood. And I believe the alleged difficulty is self-created, but will manage the neighborhood, will still benefit out of it.
I'll second the motion and would offer the following additional conditions with the variance: that the dump trailer would not be stored at the property, that the variance would be limited in duration to 5 years, subject to an application for renewal if necessary. And that the front of the trailer is not to, sorry, it takes me a while to write and talk at the same time. Front of the trailer will not be past the front line of the house, and that the applicant will plant a minimum of 4-foot-high bushes or shrubs to the west of the portion of the property where the trailer would be stored. Those conditions be acceptable?
Yep.
Is there a time frame that the shrubs have to be in?
I would say that the shrubs should be planted no later than September 1st of this year.
Okay. Can we also include that in the event the home is sold in less than 5 years, that the variance automatically expires?
Yes, that was another one that we had discussed about. And that would be that it would be limited to the white trailer.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be for so long as the applicant, resides there. Any other comments, questions, suggestions, discussion for additional conditions?
Well, I wouldn't call it for additional conditions, but I just wanted the applicants to know that I'm going to support this motion, that we do these things, and I help me understand why all these conditions are in place, because there's a lot of requests for construction equipment being parked year-round in driveways. And we may have the reputation of approving them all, but we don't. We take each one individually and try to decide if it's going to fit the neighborhood, if it's going to be an eyesore, and so forth. We have another one coming up later tonight, and I don't know how that one's going to go. I don't know how this one's going to go. I know how I'm going to go with it, and the reason I'm supporting it, the main reason is that you did a really good job canvassing your neighbors. To me, that is the number one consideration here, because they're the ones that have to look at it when it's there. And obviously, it's not going to be there all the time anyway, but if they're okay, I'm okay.
Is this open for discussion, or?
It is.
Because I'm gonna say the opposite. I'm not happy with it. And I go back to, if we start to allow it, even though the neighbors are okay with it, if a new neighbor, if somebody sells the house next door, the young fellow that lived next door, and he sells the house to somebody else moves in, doesn't like it, now they've got to look at it. So, or any of the other neighbors, if they decide to move and new neighbors move in, they might not like the look of it. It's one of those issues where if I had to live next door to it, I wouldn't be happy. And it's a big trailer. It's too large for the neighborhood. It is all lettered up. We have refused big trailers like that, and I think if we agree to this one, along with his other trailers and his boat and so on, I understand the boat, but he's running a business out of his house that's obviously a construction business. The equipment needs not to be home. It is an extra cost for him to park it somewhere else, I understand that, but that's the cost of doing business. This is a residential neighborhood, and I'm opposed.
Can I just make one observation? And again, I'm not taking a position, but it goes without saying that whether you approve it or not, the applicant has to apply with all the other town code rules and regulations. One of the components I saw was the truck parked on the lawn, which is a violation, so you have to ensure that you do comply with those types of regulations. And if this is a home occupancy required business, I'm not suggesting it is or it isn't, but you need to check with the town authorities and register accordingly.
And we were talking during the break, and I do recall a similar application that we denied not too long ago off of south of Titus. And my recollection is that application was to have the trailer parked in front of the line of the house all the time. Whenever it was there, it was to be parked in front of the house. To me, that's a huge difference, being parked in the driveway versus being parked alongside of the house. So with a condition that it not be stored in front of the front line of the house, it, to me, is a very important condition. It's not to be in the driveway, it's to be alongside the house, and those bushes are intended to cover up the visibility of that as much as possible. So.
We did, however, have another very similar construction trailer that a fellow had off of Shelford that was stored behind the front. It was a corner lot, but it was stored back of the house, or on the side of the house, and the neighbors objected. Obviously, we turned it down because it was somewhat of an eyesore. So
I don't recall that. I may not have been here for that one.
yeah, the gentleman had a boat and a construction trailer in the yard, and it was the construction trailer that was the issue. Again, if we start to approve these big, large trailers in a residential, and this is a very residential street, they're going to have, I don't want to set a precedent, and I understand council has said we do look at them all on an individual basis.
You read my mind.
I know what you're thinking, all on an individual basis. However, it's not an appropriate place for, because next is large trucks or tractor trailer trucks or whatever. or dump trucks.
There, I was going to indicate that too, that this is not, I don't view this as being a precedent. This is, we consider these individually, and there are distinctions in this application that were not present in applications that were previously submitted and denied by us. It's kind of like last year's chicken episode. Not every chicken coop was approved in town either. There are differences in different applications, and it shouldn't be taken as a, if it's approved, I don't think it should be taken as an indication that we think that parking of these kinds of trailers is consistent with the town wide residential neighborhoods. So.
You know, even though I added to the conditions, I have to agree with Michael, you know, if this were sitting beside my house, I wouldn't like it either, even if it was tucked back the side of the garage. And I think that's a good way to look at this, is that would you really want to live in that neighborhood beside that big trailer sitting there? This is a 24-foot trailer.
Well, the other thing in taking that into account is if this was a 24-foot recreational trailer, he wouldn't be in front of us. The town would allow him to park that at the side of his house.
But it's not.
It's not. You're right.
It's not. It's a big construction trail.
I understand the difference.
The gentleman takes beautiful care of his house. His house looks beautiful. It's nicely trimmed. It's a good-looking home. It hurts the appearance of that house with this big trailer.
And that recreational vehicle could only be there for 6 months of the year, too.
No, not at the side of the house. It can be there year-round.
Is that right?
As long as it's properly licensed and registered.
Plus, I don't think the situation with the office in the home has anything to do with this, because number one, his office is what he's referring to as an office, is not really an office. It's a home that you're running your business out of. There's no people coming in and out of it. It's not like somebody's having customers come there. Many people in our area that we know of, I don't care whether it's whoever, they're not running their actual business. They're using one room for their office.
I don't have any
So it has
objection
nothing
to
to
him
do with
having
this.
his business at home or using
It's
his
up to
home
the-
as an office.
It's up to the town zoning to
just
figure
have-
out whether he's actually has an office or not. So this has nothing to do with it. It's whether what you're talking about is what we're looking at.
Any other discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Nate?
How many nays was that, two?
3.
Who was the third? Were you the third? Okay. All right, so the motion carries, 4 votes in favor, 3 opposed, no abstentions, and we continue to all be present. Next application pertains to 35 Chelsea Road. This is also a type 2 action for seeker purposes. Does anyone wish to make a motion with respect to this application?
I'll make a motion that we approve this application based on the change in the neighborhood and character. I don't believe it will do so. I think the character of the home, actually, the way the home is dated, he's putting it back to its original look. The alternative solution is paving the driveway or cementing the driveway, but it would be costly because of the requirements of drainage. There is a drainage problem in the gentleman's driveway. The variance is, could be considered substantial, but I don't think it is. It's a driveway, and it's still going to be a driveway. It's just a matter of the material used for that driveway, so I don't believe the variance is substantial. I don't think it'll have an adverse effect on the physical or environmental. Matter of fact, based on Ms. Romeo's mention of the environmental impact, it'll actually help the environment because of the water runoff. It is a self-created problem, but then again, it is not, because his old driveway, since he's bought this house, he's found out that the driveway is in disrepair and it needs to be fixed. So, based on the criteria, I don't know if it's in our authority with the apron of the driveway. The town was requesting it to be a 15-foot apron. I would say a maximum of 5 feet.
Well, here's what I would suggest with regard to that, because I had actually reviewed the memorandum from the Commissioner of Public Works, Meredith, and it sounds like the applicant has had a conversation subsequent to that. So my idea, and again, I don't have an opinion one way or the other, but to comply with the requirements with regard to the right-of-way, you could just make it a condition that the applicant reach an agreement with the Commissioner of Public Works regarding the size of the concrete apron vis-à-vis the right-of-way.
Yeah. That he has to get a permit from the Commissioner of Public Works to work in the right-of-way, so he's got the call on that.
Again, I for what it's worth, not to, if we have any influence over Pat Meredith, not to make it look awkward, by making it too large of an apron.
What I've written down as conditions of approval are approval from Commissioner of Public Works, compliance with Conservation Board suggestions prior to installation, concrete apron to be as approved by Commissioner of Public Works. Were there any other conditions that?
When you say compliance with Conservation Board, you mean the 4 layers?
Right.
Okay.
That it be built in the way that they suggested it be constructed in order to work the way it is intended to work. I'll second the motion. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Nah.
Motion carries. Any abstentions? Motion carries, I believe, 6 votes in favor, 1 opposed, no abstentions, and we all continue to be present. The next application is the tabled application with respect to 354 Norridge Drive. This is a type 2 application for seeker purposes. Does anyone wish to make a motion with respect to this application? I would move that we deny the variance requested. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries, 7 votes in favor. No opposed, no abstentions. We continue to all be present. The next application was tabled from, was withdrawn, so we don't need to make any decision with respect to that. That withdrawal was without prejudice to renewing at some point in the future if the applicant is so advised and inclined to do so. The only other item that we have in front of us tonight, we received with our packets, we received minutes from our meeting on April 1st. Did everyone have a chance to review the minutes of the April 1st meeting? Any suggested additions or corrections? I would move that we approve the minutes of April 1st, 2013 meeting as submitted. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries, and we are now adjourned.
Nice meeting.